Okay, this is a huge one. You absolutely have to understand this topic for anything else that we teach in this course to work, and that is the difference in reality as perceived by men and women, or more accurately, the masculine and the feminine. And for the masculine, reality is very much an issue of facts. We have a factual reality. For women, reality is much more about their emotional state. They have an emotional reality. Now, this is obviously not to say that women are less intelligent than men, because that's not true. This is not to say that female scientists are concerned with their emotions when they're doing experiments. This is talking about in relationships specifically. So what men will do when they're assessing reality is they will take a look at all the facts, they will analyze them, and then they will base their feelings on that factual analysis. Right? And we all understand that. You look at a given situation, you determine whether or not you should be afraid, whether or not you should be trusting, etc. She goes through a very different process. What she is more likely to do is assess how she is feeling and then determine which facts matter based on how she's feeling. So if she's in a dark mood, the facts that she thinks matters are going to be very, very different than when she's in a light mood. When she's happy, she's going to find very different facts to focus on than when she's in an unhappy mood. So her reality is much more about her emotional state, and for you, it's much more about an analysis of the facts. And again, this is no hit against women, because their intuition and their ability to navigate based on their emotional truth is borderline magical. And I really believe that when you learn how powerful women's ability to navigate the truth emotionally truly is, you will lean on her for decision making in a lot of cases where you'll realize that your own more logical, rational analysis simply doesn't include important details that you need to include. And she'll be able to make certain decisions about really, really big, important things that you will not purely be able to get to based on your rational approach alone. And this is also not to say that men are good at assessing the facts, right? We can assess the facts incorrectly and feel a feeling that's totally inappropriate for the situation, right? I'm not saying that we're always good at this so that we do an accurate job. I'm just saying that the sequential process is we assess the facts, determine our feelings based upon that. They assess how their feelings determine which facts matter based on that. And so when you're in a conflict or an intense situation with your wife, you don't want to try to meet her on the factual level, because this will almost always make things worse. So I'll give you an example. You're at home and you are, having a great day. Wife comes in and she's in a mood, she's overwhelmed, she's stressed, whatever it might be. And she comes in the door and she starts blasting you like, hey, the floor's a mess, the dishes aren't done, the kids aren't even in their pajamas, and she's like losing it, right? And so you're like, okay, well, I think I have an explanation for all that, so I'm gonna handle this. You say, hey, well, I'm actually almost done the dishes. I just had to take the dog out because he has a stomach problem. Then he's good now, so I'm about to finish the dishes. I didn't want to do the floors until after I was done the dishes, but I should be done in 15 minutes, so no big deal. And it's only 6:45. The kids don't normally put their pajamas on until like 8 o'clock, so like I've got tons of time. And you're like, boom, problem solved. She's gonna be happy. And she isn't. She ends up getting more riled up, and then she starts grabbing some more facts and throwing them at you about how other things aren't done, or other things are overwhelming, or the car changed, the oil changed, your sister Susie, all these things. And as she starts going through this list of things that aren't going well, or things that need attention, or things she's unhappy about, you start trying to interact with them one-on-one, like going through the facts. You are trying to, you're understanding this from a male perspective, which is more that factual perspective. And when you understand where she's coming from, you'll see why this doesn't work, because what's actually happening for her is she is in a state of internal turmoil. So again, that could be sadness, that could be stress, that could be anger, that could be overwhelm. But it's, a lot of the time it's stress, overwhelm, feeling like everything is too much. And when she's throwing all these facts at you, what she's really doing is she walks in the door, she feels stressed. She might feel like you're not supporting her, or like she needs you, and she needs to lean on you in that moment. But instead of just saying that to you, like I would do if I was your roommate, she's going to throw all that emotion at you. And what she'll do is she'll start finding some nearby facts that she'll attach to how she's feeling, because she's feeling a certain way. So the facts that matter in that mood are all the facts that confirm how she's feeling. And so that might be the dishes and the floors and the kids not wearing their pajamas, etc. But what she's really looking for is for you to understand her emotions and where she's coming from emotionally. So instead of saying, hey, I've got the dishes aren't done for this reason, but it's okay, I'm going to do them, and the kids don't even have to have their pajamas on yet, you have to figure out a way to address her underlying emotional state, because that's where all this is coming from. Because again, she's attaching almost random facts to how she's feeling. And if you can get her back in a positive emotional state, in a place where she feels calm, where she feels seen, safe, special, supported, then all of a sudden what happens, she goes, okay, and she feels better. You get the exhale, and remember, we're always looking for the exhale. So you address her needs emotionally, and all of a sudden she goes, okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, you know what? The dishes don't really matter. I'm really happy you're going to do them. And yeah, the kids, actually, I'll put the kids' pajamas on. We got lots of time. It's not a big deal. And oftentimes when that happens, we look at that, we're like, whoa, like we almost have PTSD. We're like, okay, so these were all massive issues, and here we are 45 seconds later, and none of those issues matter anymore, even though you're just lambasting me about those issues. And that can sometimes cause us to get really upset, right? Because to us, like rationally, logically, it doesn't compute. These were enormous, giant issues that you were panicking about. Now you're totally fine about them. What just happened there? And it can make us angry. Because again, we're thinking that her reality is the same as ours, that it's actually about those facts. But all that happened is she came in a certain emotional state, and she pointed out all of the facts that added to that emotional feeling she was having, right? She feels a certain way, and then she figures out which facts matter based on that feeling. And so when she's feeling that way, let's say overwhelmed and unsupported, then all of a sudden the dishes, the floor, the kids not being in the pajamas are a huge deal. But if you can switch her internal emotional state to feeling like you get her problems, you understand where she's coming from, and you can make her feel like she's really supported and safe in that moment, then her emotional state shifts. Now she's feeling supported. So what facts matter then? Well, the fact that usually you do a really good job in the bedtime, and you're already halfway done the dishes, and you took care of the dog when he was having his stomach problems, and she didn't have to mention that. And you already got the oil changed earlier today, which is on her mind, and that feels really good. And now she'll start sharing all of that with you, because again, her emotional state shifts, therefore the facts that matter to her shift. So anytime you're in a conflict with your wife and you start getting into this fact trading of like, she says this fact, you say this fact, but she says this, but this, you've already lost. She is a black belt in emotions and you are not. And when you try to address things on a factual level and you completely ignore her emotions, she is going to come after you and you are going to lose every time. And I would imagine just about every single guy listening to this call has had those times with his wife where he gets in a fight. Let's say, the dishes, and he's like, well, you say I don't do the dishes enough, but I actually kept track of the last 2 weeks, and 14 times out of the last 20 times the dishwasher was ran, it was me who did it. And you're like, factually, I won. I showed her that I do lots of dishes. There's no problem anymore. And that just makes her way angrier, right? Because what she is looking for is not for you to address these random facts she's attaching to her mood. She is looking for you to address her internal emotional state. So never trade facts with your wife when she's when her love switch is flicked off, when she's in a bad mood, when she's feeling unsupported. You can trade facts with her when she's in a loving state, when she's feeling connected with you, when she's feeling supported, seen, and safe with you. But never, ever, ever get into a fact-based argument with her when she's in a negative emotional state, because I guarantee that you will lose every time, even if you win. You can prove her factually wrong, and she'll just move on to the next set of facts, and the next set of facts, and the next set of facts, until you get so frustrated that you eventually blow up. She then goes, I knew it. I knew this is how I felt. I knew I was unsupported. Everything gets worse. She disconnects. You're not having sex for a week. So don't do that. When she comes in and she starts pointing out facts, attaching random facts to her emotions, you have to address the underlying emotional state. Make her feel seen, special, and safe. And when you've done that, likely the facts will just disappear and those won't matter anymore. Or she'll find better facts that confirm her current positive mood about how wonderful you are. But you want to address the underlying emotional needs that she has before you get into any conversation about facts. So a couple of videos you're going to want to watch, Scene Safe Special. There's a handful of other ones as well, but the key concept here is her reality is emotional. Her reality is not factual in the same way that it is with you. And again, this doesn't mean women can't make great scientists and everything, but it means in a relationship, far more often when she's throwing facts at you, it's about her underlying emotional state. And don't think that what she's throwing at you in terms of facts don't matter. There might be some ones in there that really, really matter, but simply because she's throwing them at you when she's in an emotional state, it really doesn't mean at all that what she's throwing at you is the problem she's talking about. Those are random facts that she's attaching to the emotional problem, and you have to address that underlying emotional need if you're going to have any kind of progress with resolving that conflict.